Okay, so here's a bonus video, I guess, if you want to make a donkey. The student requested this. This is all the colors that they had left. So, um, in terms of making the animal here, you're gonna want to get some more foil. Although in this case, you don't want it to be like the camel where it's just one little bump. You want to create almost like a little bean shape because it's a little bit longer in terms of the body proportion, because we're going to have it still sitting down because that's the easiest for the clay to bake. So maybe something like that would be good, I think. Or you could probably add a bit more. So I'm just grabbing some foil here. So maybe something around that size should work, at least for this amount of clay that's left. Okay. So there we go, a little, kind of like a bean shaped anyway. We're going to then, and again, I could probably mess this all up because I also haven't tried making a donkey before. But let's say, because donkeys can be light gray or like light brown or dark gray. So we can see what we'll come up with. We want to save a little bit of the white though, because that's usually like the highlight color. The gray, we could probably use that for the legs too, so we can save that one. So maybe the first thing I'll do is start mixing a little bit of the brown with a little bit of black, because we want to dull the brown a little bit. And then let's go in with the rest of this white, and then with the rest of this tan color here. And then we're going to mix all of that up. And so this is the color that I've now ended up with, mixing that. So again, that kind of works a little bit together for the donkey. And then again, you'll want to save, maybe I'll save a little bit more white for that. And you'll probably want to save a little bit for the hooves or for the ears. Actually might maybe do a little bit more white because I'm a little anxious, because that's the one that you have to use really sparingly. And then maybe with the rest of this clay, I will see if I can get another type of light brown mixture, so that way we can start to mix the different shades. So we'll mix this color all together. Okay, and so that's the little color that we got. So it's kind of like a warm gray. So if we even compare those two, again, it might be a little bit difficult for you to tell, but this one's a bit more cool tone and this one's a bit more warm tone. So that's kind of what we're looking for the transition between the legs. So what we'll do now is, obviously we have the little body here. We're going to set this clay aside because maybe we could make a little backpack for the donkey, because again, that's kind of what they were used for, was carrying around items. So with this much clay, let's separate, I want to say that much for the head and then this much for the body, so that way we can get this whole thing covered. So we're going to again spread out that clay, and again, this could go terribly wrong because I've also never really done this before. So we want to flatten that out. Okay, and then that should be enough to wrap the donkey head around. I might actually want to save a little bit of this clay for the neck, because I just realized that we don't have enough clay for that. So it should be enough, and then I'm going to wrap it around like so. Same process that we've been doing with all the other barnyard animals. So there we are. Okay, so now we have the semblance of the body there. Okay, and this is where this mauve, or I don't even know if this is the right word, this mauve color here can be part of the neck. And we can probably save a little bit of that again for the legs here. And then we want to have a bit of that brown clay for the base. So what you want to do now is decide which one is going to be the front. So I kind of like how this is the back looking, I think. So we're gonna put the little donkey head here. Okay. And then you can spread out the brown clay in the back so it looks like this tan part is kind of like the front of the fur. Okay. And then now we can add the head. And this is where you can blend the neck upwards with the head, because the muzzle or the bottom part of the jaw can be more a lighter color of the fur. And remember, it's not like the camel. Camels usually, excuse me, have a like kind of a more stumpy head, and donkeys have a little bit more elongated ones. So we're just gonna be pressing it all together. You want to make sure it's actually sitting up, like so. So right now it kind of looks like a duck shape. So you want to start keeping the snout long, but then pressing this front part into it. Kind of like that. And then you kind of flatten out the head. But then the eye sockets are in there, so you kind of use your thumbs. If my camera will focus. Yeah, so it'll press in like so. And again, if your clay starts melting together, that's okay, because we can always go in with the fur texture afterwards. And it kind of adds a little more realistic aspect, because fur would naturally do that anyway. There we go. Okay, and then this is the tricky part here. So it's okay if head's kind of wonky for now, but you want to start to go in with the ears, and this is where you can go in with the dark brown color. You want to roll out these like little, not quite a bean shape, like if rice was very big. And then I'm gonna just tear off a little bit of this light brown because there was excess, at least on my end. So that way these can be like the, there you go. So it almost like becomes a little sandwich of sorts. Not sandwich. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. Like 2 layers of brown. Okay, so something like that. And then you want to add them in here and to the back. Not to worry if it looks like a bunny for right now. Again, we gotta finesse with what we got. Okay, so something like that. Again, looks totally like a bunny, so we're gonna try to fix that. So this is where maybe some of your tools are gonna come in handy, like a needle tool. So you want to start like pressing it in like so. And again, the brown can come down into the actual head because fur changes color anyways. And then you want to taper off the ears. Okay. And then depending on the object that you're using, okay, you want to start to press into the actual head in the top, but almost like carving it or pressing a little, not tunnel, but something just like that, where now it's totally attached in the front. Okay. Again, totally okay if it looks like a bunny for the second. So we have a rough shape now of our donkey, so we want to really fix the head so it actually doesn't, again, look like a bunny and more like a donkey. So in this case, this is where I can go in with like some of my gray color, and then I'll round out like these like 2 little circles here, and it's gonna start to become like almost the forehead So you put it right there in the top. So it's almost like, imagine if they had like really bushy eyebrows. Okay, so something like that. And you'll see what I'm gonna try to do in just a second. So now I can go in and press that clay into the head. Okay. And then now I'm going to start to press my thumb, and then this pointer finger is like kind of pinching like that. And same thing here. Okay, and I maybe even want to take some of the clay at the bottom here so it blends in a little bit better with the gray. So there, and then there. Okay, so now we have that kind of weird shape going on. And then you want to press, see, because the donkey's head is like, we don't want it to be super flat. So we want to round out like by squishing in the neck. So like that, okay? And then you keep pushing the face again into that weird little snout. And then pull up some of the clay from the neck, like with my thumb. This, you can see based on this video that sometimes like when you make clay figures, you really have to practice or really test it out before you can try to teach other people how to do it. So I'm sorry for the student that requested this, because you can see me struggling. Okay, so now I'm going to do is take my needle tool and start to not decapitate my donkey, but start to really pull out the neck again. Okay. So now we're gonna do the same thing we did with the camel and start to build up that snout. Although in this case, a donkey's is a little bit more different. It has like two little nose holes. Like that. So you want to make almost like a semicolon. Or the thing on the top of the semicolon anyway. And then do that on this side. Okay, so you'll have the two little nose holes like that. Okay, and then wherever the bottom, the light clay was mixed, you'll want to start to create a mouth. Again, it's okay if the clay moves around a bit. And then open it up. And then flatten that section again so it looks like the donkey actually has a proper working mouth. Okay, and then we're gonna let it face the front a little bit. Again, looks totally, it looks totally scary, but we can save it. This is why you're asking me anyway for help. So I'm gonna press in that eye socket. I'm gonna press in another eye socket here. And then fold it over like so. Okay, and then I'm going to move the ears a little bit. Whoa, this donkey looks like he's been going through a lot. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit more cheek, because I think that's what is happening, is that the head is a little too narrow. So I'm going to use the remainder of like this mauve clay and build up a little bit of that cheek that I think it's missing. So again, pressing that into it. And again, if we have to redo some details, that's okay. Okay, it's kind of it's kind of getting there. I'm gonna take a bit of that mauve again from there because it's starting to, neck is starting to get a little too thick from all the smooshing around that we're doing. Okay, that looks a little bit better. Okay, and then I'm pressing again here for the eye sockets. Okay, so yes, the fur looks a little jumbled up in the front there, but again, we have something that looks a little bit more like a donkey anyway. I'm gonna just carve out the neck a little bit more, like so, and then make it face the front. So hopefully you're actually watching this video before you started making your donkey, because then you can learn from my mistakes. So after we've done that, now we can start working on the little legs. So for that section, we're going to roll out kind of like a thick snake here. Okay, so you want to cut this into like 4 pieces approximately. Okay, so something like that. And I guess this is where that extra white comes in handy, because I'm going to actually try to mix a little bit more of this color. So I'm actually going to just take that all back and even take the rest of the mauve. Okay, so I mixed the rest into, again, more of that like mauve color, so at least it somewhat matches now. So same thing, you want to break this up into 4 pieces like this. Just like that. So then those are going to be the little legs. So you want to, donkeys, like, it's not like human legs where like our joints do that. It's like the opposite. So it's like, instead of moving forward, this is actually like, I'll just show you. So with a donkey, you want to have this front leg kind of bend like this. Actually, oops, I almost forgot the hooves. So we want to attach little black hooves at the very end. So something like that. There we go, a little hoof. Okay. So now we're going to bend that leg like so. And then that becomes like this leg right here. Okay, but then the thing is, the way that donkeys like sit, it's not like, I really have no idea how to explain how donkeys sit, but it's kind of like it lays down on its side, so it's the leg, the other leg wouldn't be here because it doesn't, it's like a bird squat, so you want to have another hoof like under the bottom. And maybe this is where you can take a bit of that extra clay out, because it has to fit under this other leg. So there's the other extra hoof. So you want to see where that kind of fits. It's a little, so it's like kind of off to the side. Like, see what I mean? That looks really wonky, so we're gonna re-attempt that. So something like that. So it looks like it's on the side. Okay. And then I'm going to add that extra mauve actually to the top part here, because that would be kind of like the butt area of the donkey. And then again, you can mix a bit of that brown and the mauve so it starts to blend in a little bit better together. Okay, so something like that. We can always go back to mix a little bit better, and then we want to create the other hoof. Okay, we need a bit more black than that. Okay. So there we go. So now we got our 2 extra hooves. So same thing, we're going to want to bend this kind of in the front like that. Okay, and then this is the one that can kind of go closer to the front. So see, it goes around here like the shoulder piece. Almost like donkeys almost kind of like lounge when they sit. So something like that. Okay, and then this is where you can start to really fiddle around with the details. So this actually works that, again, it's lighter at the bottom because the base of the donkey would be like that anyway. Okay. So see, I'm starting to blend in that clay so the fur texture is there. Okay. So now what I can do is add in like some final details, again, fix the face. Donkeys also have like that longer tail, but it's not totally like a horse. So what I'm gonna do now, because I know for sure I have my donkey for the most part, I might save a bit of the black. Okay, but I'm gonna mix like some dark brown fur. Okay, so I've mixed this dark brown clay here. So like I said, this is going to be the tail, and then this is going to be like the little hair at the very end of the tail. So something like that will work. Again, this is a little bit too long, so I'm going to actually thin that out a bit. Okay, and then if you want, you can have it like poking out like that, but if it's a legit tail, it's gonna be hanging down here. Okay, and if you don't want it to look like this donkey now has 5 hooves, what I would do for that is I would grab the needle tool, which I have misplaced. So I'd go in with, again, a needle tool or like something, and then just like scratch up the brown clay so it looks like hair rather than a hoof. Okay, and then what I would do with the rest of this brown clay is that the donkey would have like a bit of a mane. So up to you depending on how realistic you want it to look like. But I'm just going to add like little, like kind of what we did for Joseph's beard or the hair on any of the figures, is just create like little tufts of hair. And your donkey will, I guess, have a wicked mane. Or like a mullet, I guess. That's what it's starting to look like. It has a mullet. Okay, and then maybe one more. And you could probably make your donkey a bit smaller because at this rate it might be the same size as your camel, so feel free to do that. Okay. So there's the mane of the donkey, there's the tail, and then you want to work again. Now the finishing touches is the mouth. So again, we're going to go back in and carve that. This time we're not going to open it up because that didn't work so great last time. That. Okay. And then the snout or the nose, we're going to make that little semicolon. Like so. And then for the eyes, we can use the dark brown. You want to roll 2 small pieces of brown. And then we're going to take a pencil, actually, or pen, whichever you have on hand. And I'm going to create the little eye socket. So it looks kind of demonic, a little bit, a little scary. Maybe demonic's not the right word. And then now we want to insert that into the eye sockets there. Okay, and then now, again, looks a little scary, but you're going to want to press the brown clay over. Like pinch it so it actually sits in the eye socket. Okay. So again, looks still a little bit scary. That's okay. What I would do then is add the smallest bit of black so it has like a pupil. Or you could do the same thing that you did with the camel too. That might actually look better. I don't know if I like the eyeballs. If you like the eyeballs, you keep the eyeballs. I don't know if I like it. So then in that case, I'm going to just press again a bit of that brown over with my needle tool. So maybe his eyes are still there, but it's just maybe he's feeling a bit sleepy. And so the eye socket is a little more closed, like that. Okay, now he looks like a sleepy donkey. Which still works, I think. Gives him character. Alright, so there's a donkey tutorial. You guys just watched me struggle to make that for a little bit here. But yeah, so a sleepy donkey, again, maybe mix a little bit more of that tan clay altogether. It's okay if your donkey's a little bit darker because, again, he looks a little bit albino right now. But for the most part, that should be good. There you go. Donkey tutorial done.